Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session to deal with traumatic or painful memories, particularly from childhood, that still feel like they could be affecting day-to-day life now. And that can happen because a lot of neural pathways are built in childhood, a lot of belief systems and coping strategies are built in childhood that play out for the rest of our lives, but aren't necessarily useful as adults, even if they were useful as children. And this was created for a client that had a tough childhood that involved elements of being beaten and having violence used against them, particularly as a child while at boarding school. If you're not familiar with the phrase boarding school, it's a school that you live at rather than just kind of go in the daytime and return home. And the age of the client I was working with meant that there were a lot less, let's say, protection and safety measures in place at that particular time. So it's quite a vulnerable place for a child if you're away from your family and you're surrounded by people that could, let's say, attack you in numbers. And that's certainly some of their experiences in their childhood. And in their day-to-day life, in the moment, in the present, they were dealing with fatigue. And fatigue quite often can come from a sense of hypervigilance and being on edge and alert. And in their childhood, that would have made absolute sense because that vigilance and attention would have mitigated risks to avoid physical harm. But as an adult, they're not in regular fights and the victim of violence. So it's a strategy that's no longer useful, but is still draining energy. So the purpose of this session was to go back to those memories and to give them one perspective through disassociation, but secondly, start linking resource states into those memories, because then what they're saying to their own mind is, yeah, that's what happened then, but if I was to relive that same experience now, it would be very different because I'm older, wiser, and more knowledgeable now than I was back then. And it collapses the disempowering state and makes it empowering, but also breaks the connection of trauma or distress that could be rippling up to the present moment. So there's elements here of regression to cause or potential cause. There's reframe, there's pattern interrupts. There's a lot going on here that if you're a therapist, you'll pick up on. And if you're not, well, don't worry. It's just a thought experiment that if you have got any painful memories from your childhood or your past, go along with this. It has elements of levels of disassociation. There's a metaphor of a lake meant to be relaxing. And just think of a specific memory, not more than one, because you can always listen to this again. And this will give you the opportunity to change how you think about that memory, and you'll be the judge of, does it then change how you feel? And if it does change how you feel, then we could say it's useful. And if it doesn't, well, maybe try listening again, but in a different way or a different perspective, and see if that helps, or just choose a different memory. Obviously, this was created for a specific client that was dealing with fatigue and hypervigilance. If you feel that I might be a helpful therapist for you in your situation, To figure out if that's the case, you don't have to kind of guess. You could just book a consultation call, have a 30-minute chat with me over Zoom, and then you'll get a sense of, is there a fit or not? And if you want to do that, either click the link in the show notes or check out my website, which is adamcox.co.uk. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a slow, calm, relaxing breath. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of stress, tension, worries to incrementally feel like they're leaving your body in that outward breath. Breathe in deeper than you normally would and exhale for longer. The deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. As you start to scan your body for any clues of tension or stress, tiny muscles in the forehead or the jaw, neck or shoulders, even your eyelids. Just imagine a pathway leading to a large lake. Imagine as you walk down the pathway, breathing in fresh air, getting a sense of being far, far away from normal life, but also your past. Allow the path leading to the lake to represent separation from reality. When you're dreaming, it can feel like it's real. It's only when you awaken you realize that the difference between imagination and reality is the meaning you give it and the experience you hold. So as you walk down that pathway, feel that you're approaching the bank of the lake. See a boat, perhaps tied to a post, there on the water. But for now, I want you to imagine there is the most comfortable chair possible looking out towards that lake. As you breathe in and breathe out, imagine how you would feel to place yourself on that comfortable chair. As you look out at the lake, I want you to make an assessment that there must have been a recent storm, because the waves are choppy on the surface of the lake. The lake seems unsettled. The boat is rocking. So imagine sitting and sinking into that comfortable chair, seeing the turbulent waters of the lake. And imagine closing your eyes there on that chair, knowing that the lake is still there. Imagine breathing in a bright, vibrant color of resourcefulness. Maybe yellow, orange, blue. As you breathe in, imagine that bright color of relaxation and resourcefulness going in through your nose, into your lungs, and allow your heart to take that feeling of relaxation and resourcefulness and distribute it to every cell in your body. Feel it connecting with your eyelids as they relax, your forehead as you release and soften any tension in the forehead. Your jaw becomes loose and relaxed. When you breathe in oxygen, you don't have to think how it gets to every cell in your body. It just does. So imagine your body distributing this bright, resourceful relaxation to every cell in your body. And the moment it does, it releases anything disempowering or unuseful. Could be tension, could be fatigue, anything that isn't serving you is holding you back. And feel that that is being detached and released. So that as you breathe out, imagine breathing out a dark grey. See and imagine the dark grey leaving your body in that outward breath. And then breathe in another deep breath of that vibrant color of resourceful relaxation. As you imagine that just by breathing in and breathing out, there is a transfusion of emotions taking place. Breathing in what your body needs and exhaling what your body is willing to let go of. In the same way that you don't have to think about how your cells get oxygen. You don't have to think how carbon dioxide leaves your body in your outward breath. But it happens anyway. So as you breathe in and breathe out, imagine breathing in that resourceful relaxation. Seeing that dark grey represent anything holding you back. Vigilance is good. Hypervigilance not so good. Most things sit on a spectrum. There is a fine line between being fearless and reckless. If all of your anxieties just disappeared, that would be dangerous and reckless. But to have such high levels of vigilance where you're on guard for everything all of the time just means you have less energy and resources for other things that are more useful. Imagine taking all of the energy that's being deployed to keep you alert for dangers that no longer exist. And imagine deploying that same energy to improve the relationships with those people you love the most. Start to imagine how much more your life improves. And you don't need to buy that energy from anywhere. Just allow your unconscious to deploy that same energy into an area that enriches your life. As I count from 5 to 1, I want you to imagine how you would feel if you were so relaxed that you fell asleep on a chair by the side of a lake. 5, eyelids getting heavier and heavier. 4, releasing any tension in the jaw, neck and shoulders. 3, arms and legs feeling so relaxed, so limp and loose. 2, as you breathe in, just imagine all of your internal organs calibrating to a state of pure relaxation. Breathing slowly. Imagine there's a dial that represents vigilance. And just imagine turning it all the way down, just enough to keep you safe but no more. And then 1, just imagine a wave of relaxation from the top of your head to the tips of your fingers and toes, as you imagine drifting off into a dreamlike sleep there on that chair by that lake. And then imagine a dream within a dream, where you're now standing by yourself by that chair, seeing yourself looking sleepy and relaxed in that chair, lifting up your arm, feeling how limp, loose and relaxed it feels as it flops back by your side. Keep your physical body there in that chair and notice that the turbulent lake is now still. So still that the lake itself looks like a mirror reflecting the sky. Imagine climbing into a boat and making your way towards the middle of the lake. A still lake, a peaceful lake. Feel a sense of complete calm and relaxation. And I want you to think about the incredible abilities of your mind. Nothing is real except the present moment. A memory was real when it happened, but is no longer real now. All you have is your recollection of a moment, and recollections can change. In fact, it's impossible to recall a memory exactly as it was. Your perspective is different from another's perspective. Nothing is real except the present moment. The future is possibilities, and the past are just memories. And I want you to imagine going back to a memory that at the time was unpleasant. And when you can think of a memory like that, let me know by nodding your head. But I want you to imagine floating back to that memory, so you experience it as you are now looking back. Float up out of the boat, travel back through time, and imagine replaying the memory from this new perspective with all the knowledge and wisdom you now have. Notice that with this new perspective, emotional intensity feels different. You can choose to make it blurry or black and white to signify that this isn't real, it's the past. You can zoom out. Imagine seeing a memory with X-ray vision through walls. And just observe what happened from this new perspective. But almost imagine like you're a documentary filmmaker. You're narrating what happened in a way that gives you a sense of objectivity. You get to see it from all perspectives. Maybe emotions come up like empathy, wisdom. Maybe there's a realization that whatever happened in your past could never break you. That you were able to succeed in life in spite of your past. And when you've observed that memory as it was, true to your own recollections, let me know by nodding your head. And then imagine rewinding it. See everything happening in reverse until before the memory even started. Keep that same perspective, but now see that younger version of you with a different facial expression. See yourself looking resourceful as you transfer all of your current knowledge, experience, wisdom into the mind of that younger version of you. All of the experiences and frames of reference they didn't have as a child, imagine them having them now. See you in a highly resourceful state, harnessing not just your resources, but all resources. See them with tenacity, resilience, playfulness even. There is no fear, anxiety. See that younger version of you with infinite resources, and then play the memory forward where you're now observing that younger version of you in a highly resourceful state. And maybe there's subtle differences as the memory changes because of additional resources linked to that moment. And when you've got to the end of that memory, let me know by nodding your head. And then rewind, play it forward again as you experiment with different scenarios until you find the optimal scenario. Sometimes people will replay a memory until they come to what they would have liked to have done differently in the same moment. So just keep rewinding and replaying until it's as you would have wanted it to have been. What's happened has already happened. You've already extracted the wisdom from that. Now, it's updating the memory with the benefit of hindsight and infinite resources. Not to change the past, but to demonstrate to your unconscious mind that you have indeed extrapolated the wisdom and demonstrated that you can apply that wisdom in the same memory. And when you found a scenario that feels not just the absence of unpleasantness, but something desirable and appealing, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And when you know it's desirable and appealing, let's rewind it one more time and then step into that younger version of you and relive that memory now as you would have wanted it to have been from a first-person perspective. Feel those positive emotions and resources in that same memory, living it as you would have wanted it to have been lived. And when you get to the end, let me know by nodding your head. And if your unconscious believes that this somehow is closing a loop, resolving unfinished business, extracting value from something that was painful or unpleasant but now feels empowering, let me know by nodding your head. And allow this to ripple from the past all the way up to the present, updating everything in between. And don't be surprised if this changes your energy levels, concentration, and harmony in the mind-body connection. Then float back to that boat, and just feel a sense of calm tranquility, knowing that at any point in time you can return to this boat, float back to any memory, extract the wisdom, and update a memory with new perspective and resources to how you would have wanted it to have been. And in doing so, just as a lake can have ripples that extend all the way to the edge of the lake, time does the same thing. I want you to imagine there in that boat on that still lake, there is a pebble in your pocket. Imagine throwing the pebble into the still lake and seeing that a single pebble hitting the lake creates ripples that flow and ripple outwards way beyond the initial point of impact on the lake. As your mind accepts the idea that every memory you give a new meaning to will create ripples from that memory all the way up to your present moment and into your future. Each ripple is an empowering psychological and emotional change that enhances the quality of your life. As you hold that thought, imagine returning back from the boat to the shore, seeing that there was someone that looks just like you that's been asleep in a chair all this time. As you come to the conclusion that it was the overactive part of their imagination. The hypervigilance has been asleep all this time. And by resting that part, you are recharging batteries, psychological and emotional batteries that will give you enhanced energy when you return to the present moment. So step into that version of you asleep on a chair. Feel that different parts are recalibrating, reconnecting, and then leave the chair. Notice the still lake is still, but there are still ripples from that original pebble. And then decide to walk back on that same path, all the way back to your present moment, to the here And now, take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Connect fully with the present moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling refreshed, recharged, feeling that there is now a way to extract value from your past rather than be haunted by it, to enhance the quality of your present and future, and to take your life in a wonderful, positive new direction. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.